Welcome to the Human Being Store, and thank you for joining us for our podcast, Human Being 101, where we explore what it means to be both human and being in the world. I'm Maria Pritchard, Director of Guidance and Operations.
And I'm Kathleen Schaefer. I'm the founder and CEO of the Human Being Store.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. We are here to jump into the first step of our model, and this podcast is going to be an exploration of the 7 steps of the leadership connection model, which is at the foundation of all of our work here at the Human Being Store, as we discussed in the first episode. So each of our episodes will explore a step of the model, and then we will have a chance to interview a guest who has experienced our work, and they will share with us about their gift and how it's impacted them in their life and in the world. So, Kathleen, authentic self.
Yes. The starting point of the model, as we talked about a little bit in the last episode, everybody's heard by this point how important it is to be authentic, right? And in some ways, it's almost become ubiquitous in the world. And yet, for so many people, they really don't understand who they are at a very core level. And that's why, one of the things that we do at the Human Being Store that's amazing, at least I think so, is that in your first 90-minute session, you get your gift. And through this experience, you have a very clear understanding of yourself in a way that you most likely have never had before. And then the work that we do launches right into this first step of the model, which is how to understand who you are authentically, your talents, your strengths, your skills, and equally as importantly as understanding it is being clear about how you communicate that with others.
Absolutely. And that is something that we are asked to do every single day. You go to a dinner party, you go to a meeting, you go to an event, and people want to know who you are. And we all have this habit of, I love what you say, title, rank, and serial number.
Yeah. Well, we all like to give the external, and again, in our vernacular here at the Human Being Store, it's a human, right? What's our role? Well, this is my job title. This is the organization, where I work. I am, a partner, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, whatever it is. We tend to give an explanation of who we are, based on these external qualities. And yet the truth is, who we are really those characteristics about ourselves that are unchanging regardless of the role we're in. And that's at the crux of why it's so important to understand, is that too often, particularly around work and career, people become identified or overly identified with the role or the position that they have, and they lose sight of the fact that they are the person, the unique person with that gift, regardless of whether in that position or role.
And we were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago in one of our community events, Conversations with Kathleen. And the conversation was really around, why is it so hard to talk about who I am? Because when you strip away the ability to introduce yourself through that title, people really struggle to communicate who they are.
Yes. And there's a variety of reasons for that. The easiest one to talk about is that we're all afraid that who we are isn't good enough, right? And that if I share with somebody that, my passion is leadership, and what I'm really, good at is aligning people to the best of themselves, and how those best selves align to work and to the world, and somebody doesn't like it, or they think it's stupid or whatever, then I must be stupid or somehow, less than. And it's challenging at first. And yet once you do this and you start to understand that by connecting into the best of who you are, knowing that it is unchanging and that it is valuable and that there are a lot of people in the world who want to experience it, the secret is that you then hold the power and no one else. And that's really the shift we're here at the Human Being Store to make with people, is to help them understand the powerful people that they are, and that they hold the ability and the key to create the work and the career and the life that they desire.
Yeah. And what we believe is the world needs your gift. Everyone's gift has a purpose, and we're all here to deliver that gift to the world. And I think a lot of people, especially in work, have this fear that they actually do know exactly who they are and exactly what they want to offer, but there is that fear that that doesn't align with what I'm actually doing. And if I say I want to do this, that's not my job, and I will lose my job. I'll lose my security. I'll lose all these other things that I've been using as identifying qualities about me. But the truth is, the only way to feel real fulfillment is by leading with that gift rather than, leading by those external qualities, and trusting that there is a use for your gift in the world and you are meant to express it. And one of the powerful things that we've seen on teams when we work with organizations is that there's always a need for whatever that person is wanting to contribute. And it has actually helped teams and helped organizations when people are able to express from the authentic self.
Right. Well, I mean, so many interesting components in what you just said. One is the idea of why so many people are having anxiety, depression, struggle right now is because the way in which we've oriented toward work and life and security is shifting. We used to, graduate and go get a job, and people would stay with an organization for their entire career, and they felt that their security rested in the position and the jobs, or the ability to move up in an organization, that's where it came from. Our world is changing. Systems are not that way anymore. Most people are having 5, 6 or more jobs throughout their career, and in order for that to feel good and to be sustainable, what's important is to recognize that your worth and value doesn't come from what somebody else is giving to you. It comes from what you're offering, which is right back to why authentic self is so important. If we're not clear about what it is that we're offering, how can anyone possibly access it? And that really gets to the second point that you were making, which is our organizations are struggling many times because we have a lot of people who are in roles or have responsibilities that are not aligned to their gift, to who they are, their talents or strengths or skills. And so everybody's hiding or positioning or trying to keep other people from seeing that this isn't really who they are, what they want to do. And in so doing, we just have this mashup of problems when we, if we step forward and say, hey, this is me, I'm really good at this part, I'm not so great at that part, and let's figure out how to all come together and cover all the parts, it actually really does work.
Yeah. So before we wrap up this session, I would love for you to give our listeners a little rundown of how you describe talent, strengths, and skills, because I think it's really clear, really direct, and different than I had ever heard it communicated before.
It's one of the things I love about talking about authentic self is that, again, some of these concepts feel very large and broad and inaccessible. And as you go through and you do practice this work, the leadership connection model through the human being store, it does start to break down and make sense. And in this case, I break authentic self down into 3 categories. And the first is to know and understand our talent. And this is probably as closely tied to the gift. And what it is it's the thing that we love to do so much that if somebody said to you, you have to stop doing it, you couldn't. It's a natural expression of who you are. And you love doing it. Oftentimes, I'll say to people, you love doing it so much, you think everybody does it so naturally and effortlessly and easily. And it's that's the indicator of, what your talent is. And we don't acknowledge it. Like, one of the things I always acknowledge about your talent is, how much you're able to connect all of us to the work that we have to be done in a very organized way. And of course, the fact that connection is your gift, it's very clear. And I see you do it in our work life. I've observed you doing it with your partner. I see this everywhere in your life, that you're that connector. And when you own that, it gets to be incredible. So that's what talent is, and it's fun and it feels good.
And it demonstrates that everyone has a talent. There's not anyone out there who is talentless. So if you think that about yourself, reevaluate.
So many people feel that their talent has to be something big or broad or on a big stage. And yet the talents that really are representative of us are these small things that we do day in and day out. And what makes us unique in our talent is where we are, with whom we're doing it, in the field or the industry or whatever that we love to do it. It's not that in and of itself there aren't other people that can connect people to organizations or themselves. It's that you, Maria, do it, and you do it with the people in your life, and you do it based on your life circumstances. And these, we're also going to talk about your strengths and your skills, but that's what makes a talent a talent. Right. And keep in mind, you don't have a talent for other people, you have a talent for yourself, and it's that expression that makes it powerful. So that's your talent, and we will talk much more about this in episodes to come, because it's a very important topic. Strengths are the ways in which we express our talents, and we often find clues to this based on some of the assessments. I mean, many people have taken the Myers-Briggs or done the Enneagram. I find that these are all tools and ways to understand how we engage and use our talents in the world. Are we more strategic? Are we more tactical? Are we more diplomatic? Are we more logistic? I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. But knowing and understanding how we like to express our talent is very powerful of understanding our strengths, because they are different and are complementary to other people. And finally, our skills. These are the ways in which we like to practice our talent and our gift. And I always like to say that skills are things that we learn and we continue to cultivate throughout our life. So as an example, one of mine is communication. I've always loved to communicate, and I am constantly finding new forms, like doing a podcast. This would be one right here. Is it an extension of radio that I did, years ago? Yes. But constantly cultivating different forms and ways and expression of that skill of communication, with people. So talent, strengths, and skills, knowing it, understanding it, constantly evolving how we not only express it, but how we use it in our life and our leadership is what our authentic self is about.
I think it's one of the most powerful tools that we give to people here at the Human Being Store, especially in that initial session. And it's something that we should all connect to and really empower ourselves with the knowledge of. And I believe it's a great tool to navigate your life with.
Yeah. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, in the 25 years that I've been doing this work, if you can't get through this piece, and if you don't continually cultivate that awareness and that expression of it, life's tough. And when you really know and understand yourself and you like yourself, that's the doorway for everyone else to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's get into our special guest interview today.
I'm looking forward to it. You guys will enjoy hearing from her.
Thank you.
So welcome back to the part of the podcast where we talk to individuals about their gift and about how they put their gift to use in their life. And today we're very excited to talk with Caudill, who is not only going to talk about her gift, we're going to talk about just how she's been using it and expressing it as part of the HBS core team today. So welcome, Allie.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It looks really beautiful in this space.
So
from the other end.
you can already tell that Allie has a very good eye. She has a wonderful love of aesthetics, of hospitality, of really bringing people into a space and helping them feel good. Not to give a nod to your gift, Allie, but why don't you share a little bit about how you got connected to the Human Being Store and what you thought about this whole thing when you first heard about it?
Wow, how did I get connected to human? It feels so like such an integrated part of my being now that it's kind of crazy to think about life before Human Being Store. But I came to the Human Being Store through our dear Maria. And I met Maria through a very close friend of mine who is a relationship coach. And I had just finished a 9-month certification in neuroscience, psychology, and quantum physics with Dr. David Kruger. And I had this new realization of how to operate as a human being. I became a certified wellness coach through his program and felt very lost afterwards, having all this information. But at the time, I wasn't aware of my strengths, my talent, my skills, or my gifts. So I felt very isolated in this new place that I came into after that program, not really wanting to do it all alone after having been an actress and a screenwriter for almost 10 years prior. I just didn't want to keep working alone from home, being the own advocate for my own product. I just kind of kept hitting a block. And so I started through the program. When I went back to school, I started working at Republique, a really wonderful restaurant in LA, one of the top restaurants in the city, maybe even the country. And so I was really resistant towards my role as a server there, and I was a bit resentful still, just not knowing who I was or what I was doing or what my purpose was. And then I met Maria around the perfect time. This was last July 2018, so about a year ago. And I mean, we had one sip of a matcha latte and I was ready to go. And the funny thing is, we have to go through a 6-month practicum training program with Kathleen and through the team. And I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. And I just signed up. I was ready to go. And I booked a commercial that next day that paid for the first couple months. So I was like, this is just absolutely where I'm supposed to be.
Well, good. And we're glad that you made it here. So tell us about, the experience of getting the gift. Tell us a little bit about your gift and the impact that it's had on your work and how you're expressing it in the world.
Yeah. I'm definitely a very visual person. I do have a very vivid imagination. So the idea of walking through the human being store and this visualization process that you do in your initial session was really exciting to me. And I did embrace it wholeheartedly. But I was caught off guard by the entire experience once comfortable in this store. My box was a very small mother of pearl box. I just remember this so clearly. And I held it in my hand and Kathleen said, okay, open it. And I opened it and it was just this pearl sitting amongst this huge cosmic burst in outer space. And I had no idea what it meant. I didn't have any personal associations to pearls and I was fascinated. So it took a lot to distill that down to earth for me, but it comes down to definitely magnetism and being able to be very expansive in the existence of a human and a being, whereas like the pearl is at the depths of the ocean on planet Earth, and then the cosmos is way out into space in the being realm. So to have those two extreme polarities and to be able to operate on both sides and create an experience that magnetizes people to the magic and the joy of being here on Earth in their own gift and shining that back to them.
So beautifully said. And Maria, I mean, we've obviously been able to experience Allie's gift here at the Human Being Store and how much you've magnetized a lot of people in, and which is absolutely true, and gotten them to connect to the powerful experience of their gift. And one of the ways that we talk about a lot at the store is that we are always encouraging anybody who's working with us that they have multiple ways of expressing their gift in the world, that this is not the only way, because it's part of how we practice what we preach, that we all have different extensions and expressions of ourselves. And Allie, you have actually done something that many, many people aspire to do, which is to create your dream role in an organization in which you've already been working. And so would you tell us a little bit about how you were able to create that, and, essentially as an outgrowth of you getting your gift and really cultivating and practicing it in your life?
Absolutely. I'm very, very excited to share this because this is a true real life story of how you can create the life that you want for yourself by first knowing who you are and what that means, and just owning your wholeness in that, in your unique self. Okay, so I was a resentful resistance server about 1 year ago, got my gift, started to understand that a part of my gift is hospitality. It is opening my arms to embrace all kinds of people from all over the planet, making them feel at home, nourishing them through food, but not just food. What the table embodies as a whole is conversation, connection, community, nourishment. And then I started to love my job because I was no longer coming disconnected of this role I played, just bringing my gift forward. And then I noticed that the guest experience for me as the server became a thrill. And then my management team started to notice. And then it was a consistent energy that I just brought to the table organically. So around December of last year, they offered me a role of Dreamweaver, which was started at 11 Madison Park in Manhattan, and it's the #1 restaurant in the world. And that role is to really connect to people and do deep research on the individuals that are coming to have really special occasions in your establishment and making it the night of their dreams from start to finish. At the new restaurant that we're opening in Beverly Hills this coming winter. And so I just got excited about this new potential of Dreamweaver and what that means. And this role didn't even exist in our establishment. It's kind of a niche job on planet Earth. And so then just this last week, actually, it became real. I got the details. I have the dates. It's going to be at a restaurant called Bicyclette, Bicycle in French. And now I'm going to be the director of guest relations, and Dreamweaving is a part of that. And I'll be leading a team and really curating very high-end experiences and being the gatekeeper to that experience, making sure that you come in connected to your gift and then you exit connected to your gift in a more amplified way than when you were received.
I mean, isn't that beautiful? That's exactly what we talk about here at the Human Being Store is that once you understand and acknowledge your gift and start to put it out in the world, other people see it, they respond to it. And again, you've done what so many of our listeners want to do is you've created a role that didn't exist and it was offered to you because you showed up and showed people your gift. They saw it and they wanted more of it, and they created, the perfect job. So fortunately for us, in addition to being the director of guest relations there, Allie is and will continue to be an integral part of our work here at the Human Being Store. And we're absolutely thrilled to have you helping us bring people into this special experience, and so glad that you were here with us today.
Thank you. And I will just add a little note of how important this work is of having guides who have been through this training with a leader like Kathleen, who is the most exemplary, walking love in action human being that I've ever met. And even when I realized that I loved hospitality in this new way around Christmas last year, I was still resistant to stepping up and coming to the table and expressing that I wanted to grow because this role didn't exist. And you want to fight that. You want to fight those that believe in you and are seeing you in your gift, saying it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. And the second you just let it go and let go of the resistance and just connect to yourself in this way that Kathleen's created and that Maria's connected us all to as the director of operations in our organization, and just giving us this structure to root into, to then give it to others and just create a different way of living, because it truly is so joyful. And even through the challenges of growth and getting out of your comfort zones and expanding those forward, it can still be done with so much love and joy. And it makes life just so exciting.
And it
Yeah.
shows through with you all the time. You really are the person who keeps us really connected and expressing the joy of this work. So we're so happy to have you as a part of the team, and just so happy you were able to share your story with everyone here today.
Thank you so much, Allie. And thank you so much for everything you've done to make this podcast possible. You definitely were the dream weaver in that.
Yes, absolutely.
It was fun. Thank you for letting me shine my gift.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you, human being story.
I just love Allie's energy and passion and true connection to this work. And it's just so clear the way that she's brought her gift to life and is truly offering it. And the world has shown up to match it. And that is exactly what she does for us here at Human Being Store as well. She draws people in, creates a meaningful, magical experience. And I know that her clients who listen to this will really hear that power of the way that she works with them.
Absolutely. And it's so much a reflection of what happens with so many people, right? Which is that they don't quite know who they are, that they don't value the things that really are their gifts and their talents and their strengths and their skills. And so they wind up in these situations that are kind of half-baked. And it's half-baked because maybe it's not the entire right circumstance for that person, and because there's parts of it that are perhaps resonant with their gift, but because they're unaware of it, they don't know how to take that and amplify it. And she did it. And the other thing, she did it so quickly. And that's what we tell people. Again, it's not like this is magic. It takes work. She put a lot of work into this. And, she mentioned she showed up. She kind of took a leap of faith. She didn't know exactly what this was going to be about. And what we have seen time and time and time again in the practicum is that once people start on this journey, they know that they want to be involved, but they have no idea to the heights that all of their leadership is going to be offered in the world, not just here at the Human Being Store, but also in the other ways in which they lead in their lives.
Yeah, and I think it's, evidence that this is a practice, that this does take dedication and cultivation. And I think there's so many people out there who are probably living an experience so similar to what you just described, where they're staying in their current situation because there is something that's right about it. There is something that feels connected, but there's also a lot of gray area and a lot that feels disconnected. And this work, and especially the beginning of this work, the gift and authentic self, is really the key to unlocking that path, and just for people to be able to open their minds to the possibility that your dream role is possible, even if it's not on the table.
Absolutely. And that many times people are a little hesitant to begin work like this because they feel like, well, if I really figured out who I am, I'd have to move, or I'm going to wind up on an island somewhere in the Pacific. And that isn't what I want to do, given all the other things that are true in my life. And more often than not, people are a lot closer than they think.
Yeah.
And again, Allie's story is exactly that, is that, she was in the right industry, she was just not in the right role. And that when she expressed her gift fully in the role, people could see it, and they actually reached in and grabbed her and pulled her forward and created a role, which she took to them in a way and said, this is the kind of work I want to do. And they said, yes, we see that this is you and you can do it, and we want you to do it.
Yeah. So such a powerful story, and one that we hope encourages all of you to reach for your dreams and believe that they are possible for you. And we're here to support you along that path.
Yep. So all you have to do really is to get started by getting your gift. And it is, I'm going to just mention right here, one of the reasons that we designed the Human Being Store in a retail model is that you just have to sign up for one session. And if you don't like it, if you don't think it's good, if you don't ever come back again. We tend to think that most people will, because it is a powerful practice, and we've designed it that you can come back at the pace that you want. But if any of this speaks to you, and even just a little way, go on the website, go to the store, get your gift, and then make a choice about how much more you want to do. But your life will change in that one session.
And I really do believe that people who get to the door of the Human Being Store in one way or another, even if that's listening to this podcast, there's a reason that you are connected to this message, and trust that.
Absolutely. And, we're here to work with you and support your expression of your gift, your leadership in the way that's best for you.
Thank you again for joining us at the Human Being Store. This has been Human Being 101. Until next time.
Thank you.